Because the first touch point is you mentioning to them something about the business. The second touch point is putting them onto the pre-recorded call. So we have a pre-recorded call, the number is on the sheet, or you can take them to the website. That's the second touch point. The third touch point is the three-way call. And once they get off the three-way call, that's designed to invite them out to a in-home taste and talk meeting, a TNT meeting, or you can get them out to a presentation at a hotel, or it could be at Starbucks over a cup of coffee. That's like the fourth touch point. Now, at any point in that process, the person can decide to get started. Does that make sense? They can say, hey, you can mention it to them like some of us have done. We heard from whoever it was, but it's like, I don't care what it is, I'm in. You doing it, I'm in. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But that person has not been closed into the business yet, even though they got started. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they can get in at any point in that process. The other point of it is that even after the person, if it takes them all the way to the TNT at the home to get started, which is the fourth touch point, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. They still have not been closed into the business. Mm-hmm. Right? And what I mean by closed into the business is that they have not really engaged in a way that regardless of what you do, they're going to do the business. Does that make sense? Because I know if I go off, to design the space shuttle, Coach is still going to do the business. Doesn't matter, right? He's closed into the business. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So then the fifth touch point is the quick start training. I got started. Now the quick start training, which is on, I see you put it on the other side of the presentation that we'll go over. That is the fifth touch point. Is the person closed into the business yet? No. They're not closed into the business until you get to that second, really to the third phase, but really the second phase of that, the power close, is really designed to close them into the business. So if you look at the page, it says, enroll them in the vision, the long-term vision of SISEL as well as the team. You enroll them in the vision because you want them to be able to, at some point, decide what part of that vision they want to take part in. It could be just an extra $500 a month. It could be an extra $1,000. It could be because they want to retire their parent. It could be because they want to start a not-for-profit, or they just want to go all the way. They're ready for the $1 billion plan. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter, but you want them to be able to see themselves in the vision, in their vision. You want them to be able to see their vision, not your vision. When I first got into the business, into the industry, I was trying to figure out why no one was following me, because all I was talking about was what I needed to do for me and my family. And they were like, well, I like you, but I got a family too. You ain't talking about us. I don't see us in your vision. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's why I had to get into those books and renew my mind and all that kind of stuff so that I could really understand what people are going to be excited about. Does that make sense? So then the second point in the power close is that part of that vision, we want to know what that person's short-term goals are and what their long-term goals are personally. And the reason that we want to pull those out is because we want to be able to now tie the business goals that we've already determined what those are based on our system. We know what the business goals are. We have a 21-day game plan to help anyone get to master distributor. Does that make sense? So we know what that is, but we need to know what those short-term personal goals are so we can use that 21-day game plan to show them, if you do this, we can help you with this. Does that make sense? Now, if you want to go for the 2 to 4 year game plan, then if you do this from a business standpoint, this will help you with that 2 to 4 year game plan. You have to be able to tie the business to their personal goals. Does that make sense? So the production that they're going to get by following the plan will allow them to alleviate that financial situation or whatever it might be. So the idea is financial relief on their way to financial freedom. Because a lot of times people get so focused on, yeah, I'm going to make $10,000 a month or 20 or 30 or whatever the number might be, but they really just need an extra $1,000 to get out of the scenario that they're in. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's get financial relief, and then we can focus on the financial freedom. Now, points 4 and 5 are really key. And it's really about the time commitment agreement. Now, the most significant thing about this agreement is that It's an agreement. It doesn't matter how much time, right? Because we know, and maybe you don't, I do a lot of time management trainings. When I ask the question, not many people know the answer to it. How many hours are there in a week? Quick.
168.
You said that you went to the training before, man, you can't be answering. How many?
168.
168 hours. It's 168 hours in a week. Most people don't know the answer to that question because somebody else is planning their time for them. So they don't need to know how many hours in a week because you're being told where to be, when to be, and things like that. But out of the 168 hours in a week, we're just saying to the person 5 to 10 weeks 5 to 10 hours per week. Does that make sense? We're saying that to them, but we allow them to say how much extra time they have. It might be an extra hour. The thing is, if they commit an extra hour to this business per week, 59 minutes is unacceptable, right? And 1 hour and 1 minute is a bonus. So you have to help them commit to a time frame that they're going to work the business, and then you're going to take that time that they give you, 5 to 10 hours, and then you have a calendar on your desk that you can say, now, out of those 5 to 10 hours, this is how we're going to break that time up. Does that make sense? So that means that they're going to commit. Just like when you get a job, they tell you you need to be to work at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever the case might be. You take your lunch break at 1 or 12, and you get off at 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever the case might be. And some people can't get off work till the work is done. Does that make sense? So people are used to that. So you have to give them a little smidgen of that. We're not trying to turn this into a job, but we want them to be able to digest that there is a time commitment involved in this. There's some amount of time that you're going to have to spend building this business. It's not going to just build itself. So getting that time commitment allows you to help them to understand that in addition to that time commitment, we have a weekly schedule that we can run. And it doesn't matter whether you work in first shift, second shift, or third shift. We have a system in place that will allow you to build this business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, using technology as well as the resources that are available from corporate as well as the team. Does that make sense? So there's no excuses. It doesn't matter. We have people that have their Sabbath on a Saturday. I know people that have used this same system, having their Sabbath on a Saturday, never come into trainings like this on a Saturday or presentations, but they've gone to the top of the compensation plan because they just shifted things around. Does that make sense? They did their meetings on Sunday, but they were able to put people on a schedule and get the commitment from them. And basically, it's not like you're lording over anyone with it, but it's just like if we both know that you decided that you're going to put an hour a day into the business, then when I'm checking in with you and you said, you're going to do an hour on Tuesday and you haven't done it, and you want me to do a three-way for you, or you want me to come do a taste and talk for you, or help you with something, it's like you're not committing to your own, rescue, but you want me to. Does that make sense? So you have an opportunity to check and balance. And the reason that the check and balance is there is because as this continues to grow from 40 people in this room, right? There's no other meeting like this in the country, for SISEL right now that's happening like this. This is the only one. But as there are like one in every city happening with 400 or 500 people in it, you don't have the time to do the three ways for that many people. Does that make sense? So it's not about lording over people or trying to manage people, but it's giving people the same opportunity to succeed and having them take control of their business from day one, right out the gate. Right? So that means that, from a business builder standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, you want to make sure that when you're dealing with your new business partners, you basically, and I say to people that I work with, I say, you have me for 45 days. After 45 days, you're not even going to need me because I'm going to give you everything that you need in order to go help somebody else. Does that make sense? And you're not even going to need me. 45-day commitment. You have me for 45 to 60 days. To really understand how to run this system as a business. And my goal is to make myself, you don't need me. You don't need me to build your business. I don't want your success to be tied to that. Does that make sense? And then the sixth point there is, the application sign up. The key element of this compensation plan, and there's I just learned some stuff. That's why I was like, keep talking because I'm taking notes. I just learned some stuff about the comp plan that I didn't even know. I was like, wow, there's more money there, right? So, but the foundation of the system is making sure that people